the difference between monotheism and idolatry. Monotheism enables man to discover God in his passage through his creation, whereas idolatry causes him to become enslaved by the mere things of God's creation. Monotheism permits him to lead his life on the plane of reality, whereas idolatry shackles him at every step in his life with superstition. Where monotheism is the result of the discovery of one's own human nature, idolatry is the result of ignorance of that very nature. Monotheists are the truly desirable inhabitants of this world, as it is they who fulfill the Word of God. According to the plan of the Creator of this world, monotheists fulfill the divine scheme of God for man on earth. They unflinchingly follow His plan. It is the monotheists, therefore, who are held to be desirable by God, for they are carrying out God's will on earth. Idolatry and idolatrous people are totally different matters. Idolatry is an alien concept in this world of God. It is the monotheists who are the wanted people. The idolaters are, on the contrary, the unwanted people, for the Creator and Sustainer of this world has given no endorsement to idolatry, either as a creed or as a way of life. If we try to place a square object in a round compartment, it will not fit into it. The same is the case with monotheism and idolatry. By his very nature, man has been created to be a monotheist. That is why the concept of monotheism and the monotheistic way of life are exactly in accordance with nature, while the very reverse is true of the concept of idolatry. With the idolater, objects other than God become the center of his attention. Hence, his responses to various situations in life are also determined in relation to the objects of his worship. He looks up to them in his successes, as well as seeking refuge in them in his failures. His heart and mind are absorbed in these non-godly things and beings at all times. Where the monotheist continues to draw the nourishment of monotheism from his day-to-day experiences, an idolater's day-to-day experiences provide him only with further food for idolatry. That is, he becomes more and more confirmed in his way of life. More often than not, man's general condition is affected by different sets of circumstances, some favorable and some unfavorable. But whatever his state, that of happiness, grief, difficulty, success, failure, power, powerlessness, domination, subjugation, the essence of his response to those circumstances must be either monotheistic or idolatrous. For a monotheist, who lives constantly in God's glory and majesty, every happening in his life continues to remind him of God. His response in all situations is in accordance with his monotheistic belief. In all circumstances, he proves to be a true monotheist, never losing his balance in the ups and downs of life. In whatever condition he is, he never breaks his association with God. With God as the center of his attention, he never goes off the course. A feeling of attachment of one human being for another is generally a source of deep satisfaction to the individuals involved. But there is no greater source of satisfaction and no greater elevation of the spirit than in man's strong attachment to God. This, in essence, is what monotheism is, both in principle and in practice. As such, it is of the highest value in the eyes of God. Any other kind of attachment of a worshipful nature is shirk, and as such is valueless. This deep attachment for God takes two forms, love and fear. The Quran tells us that it is in the monotheist that the love of God is at its most profound, and that it is God alone that he fears. Such extreme dread and extreme love should be inspired solely by that being who has created man, who is his Lord and Sustainer. One who associates these special feelings with someone other than God is guilty of committing shirk. It is to bestow on others the adoration that is due to God. Human beings may feel strong attachments for many kinds of things, for other people, for animals, for ideas, and so on. When an individual is strongly attracted to something, it is normal for his thoughts to center on the object of admiration. He can become so engrossed in it that his entire happiness seems to depend on his finding it and keeping it. When he succeeds in doing so, his enthusiasm knows no bounds, yet he is always beset by the fear that he may be deprived of this highly valued object. This fear makes him really sad, for he has high hopes that so long as he possesses it, it will yield untold blessings. Just thinking about what he has and what he may lose can fill his eyes with tears. But all such emotions pale into insignificance beside the feelings which the true devotee has for the Supreme Being. What he feels for him is an unbreakable bond of affection and a deep, unalterable veneration. It is to him and him alone that all his thoughts are directed, and it is to the Almighty alone that he surrenders himself. God looks with extreme disfavor upon this feeling of profound reverence being focused upon anyone or anything besides himself, for it is the special prerogative of God to have human beings remain in awe of him. No other being deserves this ultimate degree of reverence.